You're invited to share their secrets. You're invited to share their tales.
Yes, of course. You're scared.
Tales of madness. Of revenge.
The dolls don't want you there. They want reparation.
Of horror.
He thinks he needs to kill the monster.
Now, your most terrifying nightmare. And your most...
What's going on? What's going on? You now tuned into the Low Key Podcast, episode 14. I got a scary story to tell. Me and my wife, we're going to do our top 5 horror movies. I hope y'all listening. I hope y'all tune in because some of these movies y'all probably haven't seen most likely because I know a lot of people that are not horror fans. I want you to introduce yourself.
It's Lisa, the wife.
Of course, she's been on here already because we did our top 5 hood movies. So, of course, I'm going to lead it off. And my number 1 is Tales from the Hood. That's the reason I started this intro off with the trailer from Tales from the Hood. Of course, one of the favorites of all favorites, man. We all know the favorites we love. The Puppet, of course, being the favorite. Of course, probably my second favorite story of that is the first one with the police. I got to be honest, the scariest stories to me was the police because of the man with the eyes, the man the police killed. His eyes when he came back to kill the police, man. That shit would fuck with me all the time when I was younger watching that movie. I hated that. I loved it at the same time because it scared me, but at the same time, I hated it. And of course, the puppets, the doll shit, that shit freaked me out, fucked me up for a while. I know my sister to this day hates that movie. She loves it. Don't get it wrong. She loves it because it scares her, but she hates that movie. But Tales from the Hood is definitely a classic, man. It's a classic. It's got some of the best stories in there. And it's not only about it being scary, but each story has its own meaning and lesson. And that's what I really love about it, and the creativity. I think one of the most creative things about Tales from the Hood was the story where the little boy would ball up people that he didn't like or people that he felt like was mistreating him. I ain't going to say he didn't like, but people that mistreating him, he would ball them up in the paper, and they would basically get crushed. Like, that shit, like, you ain't never seen no shit like that before. And to this day, I don't think I seen nothing like that, and it was just crazy. And you got to give that performance to David Alan Grier because in them early days, you know, that was him coming off of In Living Color, and seeing him in that role was like crazy. So that's one of the main reasons I'm so pissed off at Tales from the Hood 2 and Tales from the Hood 3. I hate them movies, man. And I'm going to tell you right now, do not fuck with Tales from the Hood 2 especially. Tales from the Hood 3, you can check it out, I guess. But Tales from the Hood 2, middle finger all day. And not only that, it's the same people that did the first movie, so I don't get it, man. I don't understand what happened. But anyway, we're doing our top 5 scary movies. That just made me mad because of how good the first Tales from the Hood is. Now I'm going to pass it to my wife so she can get her first top 5 horror movie.
My number 1 is It. Stephen King's It. When I was younger, it gave me nightmares. That's the only movie that I got nightmares off of. This is the Stephen King's It.
Both of them are Stephen King.
No, the original, the first one, the 90s one.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to be
clear.
The
90 one, the real one. Well, not the real one, but the 90s one, the original. Because it gave me nightmares. That movie is the movie that made us not be able to watch horror movies for a minute when we was growing up. Because me and my sister had nightmares like all night until my mama got off work. And we slept with her that night. We was kids, big kids, but we slept with our mama that night because it gave us nightmares. We seen that clown in the closet all night. We couldn't sleep. So I love that movie. I mean, I love it for the fact that it gave me nightmares. I was actually scared of it.
I understand. That's all right. I'm going to go to my number 2, and my number 2 is going to be Scream 2. I love Scream 2 because I just love the Scream franchise anyway. I had to pretty much sneak and watch the first Scream, and that's a long time ago, and that was on a VHS tape. And from then on there, I pretty much loved them all. Scream, of course, is based on somebody who calls people and asks them questions about horror movies. And the first movie pretty much redefined what horror movies were based on and was horror movies can be about. It pretty much had somebody going around asking you questions, and if you didn't know certain questions about horror movies, he was going to kill you. That shit was crazy. And then the whole thing about the revealing of who the killer was, it just brought on extra tension to the whole process of watching that movie. And Scream 2 in particular was a very exciting time because Jada Pinkett was in it, and Omar Epps, who we all love because, I mean, Jada Pinkett set it off. Omar Epps, Juice, you know what I'm saying? And for him to get knocked off at the beginning, sorry, spoilers, I'm just letting you know, Scream 2 came out in 1997. It's 2020. You should have damn sure seen it by now. But anyway, seeing them get knocked off at the beginning was crazy because I remember going with my mom and my aunt, and I think my sister to see it at the movies. That's one thing, we always went to go see some scary movies. But I remember going with them to see it because I think a lot of people was probably going to see it because Jada Pinkett was in it. And that was probably one of the movies where you had seen Jada in a horror movie before. But it was definitely one of my favorites. It still to this day is my favorite. I gained to love it later on because I didn't like it at first because of what happened at the beginning with Jada and Omar getting killed. But I definitely grew to love it more because of who the killers were at the end, because I definitely didn't know who one of them was. I kind of guess one of the other one were, but I definitely was confused on the woman killer. I definitely was confused on her, so that definitely was one of the reasons why I love Scream 2 so much, and that's my number 2 as far as my top 5 horror movies.
My number 2 is Tales from the Hood. I like Tales from the Hood because it didn't necessarily scare me, but I liked it because it had a lot of black actors in it. And when I was growing up, that to me amazed me. But my story that really scared me was the story about the dolls. The fact that I was a little girl growing up and I played with dolls, I was like, hey, I wonder if mine possessed. No, I didn't have dolls look like that, but still the fact that it was haunted dolls, growing up as a little girl, you like, oh, hell no, I don't even think I'm going to play with no dolls no more. Which I didn't necessarily stop playing with them, but I did stop watching that movie. But like I said, as my first movie, after that movie, and we had Nightmares All Night, my grandma really didn't let us watch horror movies that much. So what we had to do was sneak and watch them, or we had to watch them like early in the daytime when we had a babysitter, or we had to watch it with our mama.
Okay, my number 3 is going to be Demon Knight. Demon Knight is Tales from the Crypt's Demon Knight. And if you know anything about Tales from the Crypt used to come on probably late 90s, early 2000s. I did a little thing on them. Not Tales from the Crypt, but certain horror movies, and I talked about it a little bit. But anyway, this particular movie I think came out in 1995, if not 96. It definitely was one of those too. And Jada Pinkett is in it. I'm not going to give too much away because I feel like this is one of them underground horror movies that a lot of people probably haven't seen yet, because I know a lot of people are like, I didn't know Jada Pinkett was in it, because a lot of people think Jada Pinkett's first horror movie probably was Scream 2, but it wasn't. It definitely was Demon Knight. And Demon Knight is basically about a group of people who get locked in a hotel and are being chased by a certain individual that's looking for something. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it's definitely one of those ones that's funny. It's funny. I think I pretty much talked about this when I was doing I forgot we was doing our top movies or top 5 movies, but I pretty much done talked about it already, but it's definitely my number 3 as far as top 5 horror movies.
My number 3, I'm indecisive. I think I'm going to have a bonus because my number 3 is Halloween. I loved all the Halloweens growing up. It scared the mess out of me when I was growing up. It was different than Jason, and it was more, to me, it was more the mask. I guess I'm a person, I like to see your face. So growing up, I wanted to see his face. So it's this man going around killing people. I get he trying to get to his family member, but my whole thing was, you trying to get to your family member to kill him, bruh. So they need to be running too, but why? What's the point? Why are you like this? I guess I was like, Dr. Lecter, I needed to know what was going on in his mind because I didn't understand why he was wanting to kill people, why he wanted to kill his family members so bad. I got the part about killing people. You know, everybody, psychopaths kill people, and they was getting in his way to get to who he was trying to get to. I got that whole part. But why your family member? You snapped and killed your family members.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, that's one of the movies that I definitely love. It's not my top 5, but it's definitely ones I had on repeat. But watching somebody like that and doing what he was doing, it was definitely something to be tensed up about. especially just knowing how easy he was just walking through neighborhoods and doing what he was doing without people noticing it or seeing it. But that's definitely one of them good ones. My number 4 is going to be Candyman. Candyman, and I'm talking about the Candyman 1994, if I'm thinking, because the new one it definitely is a new one about to come out, which is 2021, if I'm not mistaken. But the Candyman I'm talking about is 1994, of course, with the iconic Tony Todd. Just think about, ain't no mask on him, nothing. He got a hook and a long-ass pimp trench coat. Is it a trench coat? I think it's just a long-ass pimp fur coat, something like that. Yeah, something but anything, he got a long-ass coat and a hook. He ain't got no mask or nothing. But when you hear that voice, and you know he coming, man, that movie was terrifying. Not only terrifying, but the imagery that movie had, the gore. And it wasn't just gory to be gory. It was cause and effect for that gore. The cause was what people were doing and what he was doing, and the effect was his reaction to people calling his name 5 times. And that movie, to me, definitely tug on my scare tactics and me not wanting to watch certain things or me being scared at night, man. I'm telling you, when I was younger, it definitely took a hold on me as a child, man. But I love scary movies so much, I had to keep watching it, man. And I watched that movie a couple times, man. And it's a certain scene in that movie where they talking about something that happened to somebody in the bathroom, and then they like showing it while they telling it. Like, that's definitely one of them top ones. And I know a lot of people done seen Candyman, and I definitely love that one. That's definitely one of the ones that I'm looking forward to as far as the new one and what they're going to do with that, because Jordan Peele is attached to that. So it's definitely my number 4.
My number 4 is Child's Play, the 1988 Child's Play. And that's the first one. I like the second one too. I like the second one more than I like the first one, but the first one, that's on my top 5 list, because a possessed dog, which I got it with somebody in it, but I wasn't necessarily scared versus humor, but it was one of my horror movies, because I thought I was a little girl, so maybe my dogs could come possess and want to kill me because they want my soul. So it as a little girl, it bugged me like that. Anything that had to do with dolls, I was like, man, I play with dolls, so what if they come alive and try to get me at night while I'm asleep? So a lot of movies with dolls bug me, but Chucky, that was my movie, because it was scary due to the fact that it was a possessed toy, but it had humor to me. And then I like the fact that he be cussing sometimes when I was younger. So that's why that's my top 4.
I'm Dilly, damn Bella. Give me the power, I beg of you. I don't know, man. Because I mean, yeah, definitely when you younger, that tripped me out some, but when you get older and seeing this little ass running around, like, man, I don't kick the shit out of you, man. You got to get the hell back. I'm not fucking with this little nigga, man. He can maneuver and do this and the third, but, man, I'm going to kick your ass down. Then not only that, I'm going to stand on you and I'm going to break your head off of you. Then I'm going to set your ass on fire and do this and the third. And I know they did that in the first movie, but nah, I'm not going to just let the fire go out. I'm going to keep making sure your ass is burning or whatnot. Because this little bastard running around, man, take his little ass out, man. Then he cussing you out and shit, knocking you over and sitting his little ass knocking grown ass men over. That's some of the stuff I didn't like about that as far as Child's Play. But as I was younger, I definitely enjoyed it. It wasn't the ones that scared me, though. That didn't scare me.
It was, as a girl, it scared me. A dog, what if my dog is going to be possessed? Like, what if this dog been thinking, like, yeah, I can't wait till she go to sleep. Yeah, she be pulling my hair all kind of ways. I'm going to choke the shit out of her.
I got what you saying.
But, I mean, now that I'm older, man, I knocked the shit out of Chucky. But then it had me scared. Not scared. I like the fact that he cussed people out. Shoot, I love anybody that cuss, but a scary movie with a possessed dog that cuss people out, yeah, I was on it.
Yeah, you got issues. But anyway, my number 5 is going to be Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat was a movie that was supposed to be a theatrical release, which was supposed to come out in theaters around, I guess, 2007, I think. But it never did come out. It came straight to home DVD. It came straight out. And I rented it one time from Blockbuster. I remember this, man. This back in the day. This was when Blockbuster was getting down in that little area, I guess. They was about to be done, maybe. I think so. I can't remember. But I know it was from Blockbuster, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Trick or Treat is basically an anthology movie. I ain't gonna say an anthology. It's basically about, like, almost in the vein of Tales from the Hood as far as storytelling, except all the stories connect with each other. And it's not like somebody's telling a story to each story